You're watching WNDU TV. Newscenter 16 at noon starts now.
Well, we start with weather this afternoon, and you're taking a live look over downtown South Bend where snow is currently falling. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Travis Robinson. It's clear to see it's not looking like spring anymore. Storm Team 16's David Harker joins us from the Weather Lab to tell us how long this snow will stick around.
Well, Travis, I think it's just the next 24 hours at best. We'll see the end of the snow showers for the most part by the time we get to tomorrow morning's drive. Until then, get ready, folks. It's going to continue to push in. Live look satellite radar combination. I've overlaid the temperatures on top. It does show the rotation around a low pressure system. And this will be the case that we see throughout the afternoon, too. It will become more lake effect variety snow showers. But I still think the bulk of any accumulation will likely happen right there along the lake shore as lake effect kicks in later. Now, I've already seen the snow falling, obviously, just like you have, folks. And what we've seen is a lot of it melting at the surface. That's because the temperatures are at the freezing mark, the ground level a little bit warmer. Now, as we transition into the afternoon, you'll tend to notice more lake effect snow flurries, maybe mix in a rain shower south of US 30 toward the evening drive, and temperatures will likely be up close to 35, 36, or 37. We're seeing a 10 to 20 mile per hour wind. That makes all the difference. It brings those lower 30s back down into the teens here in South Bend, Mishawaka. Same in Goshen there, too. I encourage you to stick around. I've got an in-depth look at 16 Future Track. I'll talk about more precipitation that is on the way in the 7-day. That's later on in our newscast. Travis?
Well, a bit opposite of snow here. New information on a fire at a South Bend auto repair shop. We're learning the building wasn't occupied when the fire broke out. Happened Sunday afternoon at Rage Customs Automotive on Lincoln Way West. The fire damaged the building and a few cars. Fire officials are working to determine exactly what caused the blaze. We now know the names of those involved in a police chase that ended in a deadly crash in Berrien County. The three who have died have been identified as 20-year-old Jamari Fuller, 17-year-old Davion Patton, and 17-year-old Alan Trayvon James Velox. A fourth person, 17-year-old Anton Morgan, remains in a hospital in critical condition. Police pulled over their vehicle Sunday morning because it matched the description of an SUV that was seen leaving a gun shop that was broken into. The vehicle had stopped eastbound on I-94, but it then took off, exited onto M139, headed south, and that's when it lost control and crashed into a tree near Rocky Weed Road.
This is a tragic incident, and our thoughts and prayers are with the friends and families of the victims.
Now, police say they recovered 8 stolen firearms, including 3 pistols, 1 shotgun, and 5 rifles. Michigan State Police are still investigating the crash. And the numbers are in from the March Madness patrols in Marshall County. Over the course of 24 days, the Sheriff's Department made 3 DUI arrests, 186 warnings, and 51 citations were also made. During that time, there were 7 misdemeanor and 3 felony arrests. It was part of the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign to keep impaired drivers off the road. New at noon, 7 inmates were killed and 17 others hurt following a riot at a South Carolina prison. It happened Sunday night at a maximum security prison in Bishopville. Police say multiple fights took place in 3 different housing units. A coroner confirms most of the inmates were killed after being stabbed. He says others may have been beaten to death, but autopsies will be needed to confirm how they died. No officers were hurt. Happening now, police are looking for a man who's responsible for a deadly shooting at a hotel picnic in Las Vegas. Police say this man, 42-year-old Anthony Roble, targeted hotel executives Sunday afternoon. A woman was killed and a man is currently in critical condition. Police say Roble is an employee at the Ventinian Hotel. Police are calling the shooting a case of workplace violence. Today also marks 11 years since the mass shooting at Virginia Tech University. 32 people were killed and 17 others were hurt before the shooter ended his own life. At the time, it was the deadliest shooting carried out by a single gunman in U.S. history, and it sparked intense debate about gun violence, gun laws, and treating mental health issues. Happening now, Bill Cosby is back in a Pennsylvania court. Today, his accuser, Andrea Constand, will testify again. Constand began her testimony Friday detailing what took place in 2004. Cosby denies the sexual assault allegations and says their sex was consensual. His first trial ended in a mistrial after Pennsylvania jury couldn't come to a unanimous decision. Several other women testified last week saying they believe Cosby drugged and molested them. Now to a war of words between President Trump and his former FBI director, James Comey. Reaction is pouring in after Comey's explosive interview, which he called President Trump morally unfit for office and a stain on all those around him. Kristen Welker reports.
In a bombshell interview overnight, former FBI Director James Comey revealing for the first time he thinks it's possible President Trump crossed a legal line when he allegedly brought up the investigation into then newly ousted National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, telling Comey he hoped he could let it go, something Mr. Trump denies saying and calls a lie.
Was President Trump obstructing justice?
Possibly. I mean, it's certainly some evidence of obstruction of justice.
On another critical question, could the president be compromised by the Russians?
I think it's possible. I don't know. These are more words I never thought I'd utter about a president of the United States, but it's possible.
That's stunning. You can't say for certain that the president of the United States is not compromised by the Russians.
Yeah, it is stunning, and I wish I wasn't saying it, but it's the truth.
In an interview with ABC News, Comey, who was fired by Mr. Trump last year, previews his new book, A Higher Loyalty, describing in new detail interactions he had with President Trump. That includes when he first briefed him on that now infamous dossier filled with salacious but unproven allegations against President Trump.
He interrupted, started talking about it. Do I look like a guy who needs hookers?
In a separate interview with USA Today, Comey describing his perception of how the president talks about Russia's president.
At least in my experience, he won't criticize Vladimir Putin, even in private. And that struck me.
The president excoriated Comey on Twitter in the hours before the interview aired, calling him a slimeball, slippery, and the worst FBI director in history by far. Still, Comey was undeterred, unleashing his harshest criticism when asked if the president is fit to serve in office.
I think he's morally unfit to be president.
White lives matter! White lives matter!
A person who sees moral equivalence in Charlottesville, who talks about and treats women like they're pieces of meat, that person's not fit to be president of the United States.
So does Comey think the president should be impeached?
I hope not. Because I think impeaching and removing Donald Trump from office would let the American people off the hook. People in this country need to stand up and go to the voting booth and vote their values.
It's Kristen Welker reporting. Comey also talked about his decision to reopen the Clinton email investigation 11 days before Election Day. Comey acknowledged he presumed Clinton would likely win, and that likely played a role in his thought process.
More to come on Newscenter 16.
Demanding answers. We'll tell you about the controversial arrest of 2 black men at a popular coffee shop and why it's sparking protests. Keeping kids healthy. A look at free opportunities to get your kids active as part of Healthy Kids Day. We may have some snow, but wait until you hear about Minnesota. Find out how a wintry mix caused problems for travelers.
And the snow showers continue to fall. You notice the big low pressure system as this all wraps around. We're going to see more snow this afternoon and this evening. I'll tell you how much. That's coming up after the break.
You're watching WNDU TV, Newscenter 16 at noon.
Snow showers continue to fall across Michiana as a large low pressure system makes its track off to the east, and you'll notice that wraparound as we move through the animation just over the past 3 hours. A lot of snow showers still to come, mainly from Lake Michigan as we look to the afternoon and evening hours. But the latest model's not indicating all that much when we talk about accumulation, and I'll show that map to you in just a moment. Let's come on close to home and talk about what we've got current condition wise. Notice all the reporting stations, or rather most of them here in Michiana, having some snowflakes on them, middle and upper 30s in some locations. We're talking 33 in Elkhart, 33 in Plymouth, 35 there in Sturgis. Otherwise, we're talking the freezing mark, and we'll continue to hold steady, if not move in the upward direction as we look to the afternoon. Now, we will see more lake effect clouds and lake effect snow showers, and that will allow us to see some warmth, especially down south of US 6 and US 30. That'll be the consensus later on today. A look in our 16 future track model, got the temperatures overlaid on top of what the sky conditions are likely to be. And you'll notice through the afternoon as we move into motion that a lot of this does become more lake effect linear fashion. Notice down south of US 6 and US 30, we've got that orange and green. The orange would signify a mix of rain and snow, and the green all rain showers. So you folks may not necessarily see all that much when we talk snow accumulation, as opposed to areas along and north of the state lying closer to the lakeshore. We move into the overnight hours tonight into early Tuesday. Temperatures will be dropping back down into the upper 20s. You'll probably notice a bit of clearing. That's why the temperatures will drop. By the morning drive, a lot of the snow is going to be gone. So mainly sunny as we look to the afternoon and evening hours on Tuesday. And you'll notice just that. I expect our temperatures to jump easily into the upper 30s. Should quickly rise to the lower 40s in some locations too. So that'll help things out as well as we look toward Tuesday evening. Now, as we roll into Wednesday, you'll probably notice a few clouds pushing back into town. We have the chance of rain showers. And if you look toward the top corner of the screen, you're able to see some of that green showing up on the weather map. That'll be something that we'll watch later on in the day, but temperatures should exceed 50 degrees in every single location, so that's going to be very helpful. So we move throughout the daytime today and we look at the snowfall map. Here's what we could see snow accumulation wise. Latest model, not estimating much more than a tenth of an inch in many locations, even near the lakeshore. Same as we look toward the morning drive on Tuesday. Could see up to a half an inch, up to an inch in some locations. I think it'll just depend on how warm the actual ground is as opposed to the air temperature. 37 degrees the expected temperature today. We move into Tuesday. It is a dry day for the most part, with exception of a few early morning snowflakes. 41 degrees, 50 degrees showing up on Wednesday. Late day rain showers not out of the question. Take a bit of a back step Thursday, 47. And then as we move to the daytime on Friday and into the upcoming weekend, we're talking middle and upper 50s, could easily reach 60 degrees by next Sunday. So finally getting a little bit of relief. And here's a little teaser for you. It looks like this weather may actually stabilize, and 50s and 60s will become the norm as opposed to the 30s as highs.
Well, David, that makes me really happy to know that the snow is not sticking around at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's April, but then again, we've seen snow into May before, so it's not out of the question that we see it this late.
Well, we may not see any snow accumulation here, but in Minnesota, heavy snow left many stranded after hundreds of flights were canceled. At the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, more than 600 flights were canceled over the weekend. That was particularly bad news for those flying on Sun Country Airlines. The airline canceled the last of its seasonal flights from Mexico to Minneapolis, leaving dozens of people stranded in a foreign country.
Yeah, you may be stranded in paradise, but you're also stranded in a foreign country.
Sun Country says they had 40 cancellations over the weekend, plus 5 diversions due to the severe weather. And many people are calling this a case of police brutality. The people of Philadelphia are now protesting, demanding action after 2 African-American men were arrested at a local Starbucks. The video of the incident is going viral, now seen by nearly 10 million people. Morgan Radford reports.
No longer, no further.
Outrage in Philadelphia.
The power is with the people.
Protesters calling for justice after cell phone video shot inside this local Starbucks went viral.
Well, what did they do? What did they do?
It shows police officers arresting 2 black men. They were seated at a table waiting to meet a friend
What did they do?
who arrived just as they were being taken away in cuffs.
They didn't do anything. I saw the entire thing.
Customers like Michelle Saheen watched in disbelief.
So the women were shocked because the gentlemen getting arrested were so calm the whole time. They kept their calm, they didn't talk back, they were completely compliant, and they said, we would have been flipping out. And I said, well, they're black. They can't flip out. That could literally mean the end of their life.
Officers say the men were trespassing. They asked to use the bathroom, but the Starbucks manager said they had to leave because they didn't buy anything. When they refused, she called the cops.
These officers did absolutely nothing wrong. They followed policy. They did what they were supposed to do.
The men were released after 8 hours, and prosecutors didn't file charges.
Absolutely.
Their defense attorney says the case was never about the law. It was about bias.
Do you think this would have happened if your clients were not black?
I would love to hear the 911 call on this case, but what's the 911 call you're never going to hear? Hi, this is the Starbucks at 18th and Spruce. There are 2 white women sitting in here. One of them asked to use the bathroom and she didn't order a coffee. Come quick.
Starbucks management admits they were wrong.
All companies make mistakes, but good companies acknowledge them, they learn from them, and then they make the necessary changes to make it right.
The city of brotherly love saying enough is enough.
I hope that people are much more open to the idea that this really does happen all the time.
Morgan Radford reporting. Many online calling for more action using hashtags, hashtag boycott Starbucks and hashtag never again. The men have chosen not to be identified by name, but Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson says he would like to apologize face to face. And good news for book lovers, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library is coming here to St. Joseph County. Library organizers kicked off the program today at the St. Joseph County Public Library. It's all a part of Dolly Parton's childhood literacy program, which began in 1995. The program has placed over 100 million books in the hands of children. Kids from birth age up to 5 can receive a free book once a month in the mail. The books are hardcovered and age appropriate, and the goal is to have more children read with their parents.
Most of brain development happens in the first 3 years of life, so the sooner parents start reading to their children, the better. It will help them bond, it will help children engage in more reading themselves, and they'll be much more ready for school when they show up for kindergarten.
Now, to register your child, you can go online or visit any St. Joseph County Library branch. For more information, head to our website and click on this story. This Saturday is Healthy Kids Day at many YMCAs throughout the country. It's a national initiative to educate kids on the importance of staying healthy and active all year long. The YMCA of Southwest Michigan and Niles is just one of the many hosting Healthy Kids Day. It's a day where local vendors, including the fire and police department, come out and educate families about living healthy lifestyles. There will also be fun fitness activities like cardio drums and kids Zumba and even open swim. And get this, it's all free.
Well, it's important to stay active all summer. Kids don't necessarily have the structure of school, maybe with a gym class or something like that. So to teach them that they can be active in fun ways on their own is important.
Now, events are from 1 to 3 on Saturday. Coming up, we're joined by Pet Refuge for this week's Adopt a Pet segment. Don't want to miss meeting their furry friend. Plus, making a difference, how one group is using 3D printers to help others around the world.
All right.
Welcome back. Bright pink and brand new. Thanks to a team in Colorado, an 8-year-old in Kansas City received a new prosthetic arm. Not a traditional one made by professionals, though. The designers are amateurs, very skilled amateurs, though. Jennifer Meckles shows us how the group uses 3D printers and their own volunteer time to make a difference.
All right, so show me how it works.
Every other Monday, these men, led by Jack Buchanan,
We'd have to print this and this.
meet to make.
A mini Delta that does flex.
This team uses 3D printing to make arms.
Yeah, so I move the elbow, and as I move the elbow, the fingers close.
3D printed prosthetic arms.
This design I made, it's called Kwawu.
Jack creates the designs and shares them with other makers online through a site called Enable,
This is a 3D printer.
where people around the world can build and share models for 3D printed prosthetics. The design is sent to a 3D printer like the one this team uses.
So it just melts the plastic coming off these big spools and melts it, and then the little thing just squirts it on. It's a really simple idea.
Cheaper, faster, and simpler to build than a traditional prosthetic.
The prosthetic is a custom fit. Everyone is a custom fit make.
They can go from a kid in Kansas City to a clinic in Kosovo.
When you're building a prosthetic, at the end, you've got all that cool build part, but then you've got this reward payoff of, oh my gosh, it really made a difference to somebody. Isn't that awesome?
Just a group of guys with a hobby. Needing to make and making a difference.
Let me put these away.
Now, of course, 3D printed prosthetic arms are much simpler than the ones made professionally. This team says the materials for each arm cost about $50 in about 40 hours. Let's send things over to David, who's joined by a very furry special guest.
Thank you, Travis. Let's take a look, as it is Monday, at our weekly Adopt a Pet segment. And Elaine Bale, you've brought Jasmine with you. Tell me a bit about Jasmine.
Jasmine has just turned a year old. She's been rescued from a hoarding situation, and she is such a sweetheart. She's a little nervous right now, but she's considered a long-haired gray tabby.
I'm just going to reach behind you. I think we might have had a microphone issue, but we're going to fix it. Nonetheless, you were telling me that she is a long-haired gray tabby.
Yes.
And 1 year old.
1 year old.
Okay.
And rescued from a hoarding situation.
Sure.
A tabby is considered because of the striping in her colors.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so
okay.
you can have several color combinations of tabbies, but it's the stripes that indicate she's a tabby.
Okay.
And she could be called a tabby. Well, she's got not too much white on her, but she's just been such a sweetheart, and she loves to cuddle. She's very easygoing with the other cats that she's being fostered with at the moment, because she did come from a large group of cats. So she would make a great family pet, and I don't think dogs would freak her out either.
She seems like just calm and cool as a cucumber. Well, I got to tell you, we've run out of time that quickly.
Oh my gosh.
That's how quick this goes. But Elaine, we're going to put some information on our website and social media on how people can donate, because I know you always take donations.
Oh, yes.
And folks, if you're looking to adopt any of the pets at the Adopt a Pet, be sure to give them a phone call, 231-1122, or visit the location on South Burnett Drive in South Bend. We'll be back. Boy, those snow showers.
I know. Hopefully they'll go away.
Yeah, they will. It's just a matter of time before that happens. Notice 16 Doppler max. We've got the wraparound snow showers. They will continue this afternoon and this evening, and we'll likely see some lake effect as well. Totals probably a coating up, maybe up to an inch. I'd say a lot of that south of the or north of the state line rather, but we'll see it in a lot of locations of Michiana. Westerly wind 10 to 20 miles per hour. We may get lucky to get to 37. A lot of us will probably stick it out in the middle 30s today. 41 tomorrow. 53 with rain showers late Wednesday, and then, hey, look at the weekend. Sunshine and near 60.
Yeah, well, that's it for Newscenter 16 at noon. So thank you all for joining us today.
And remember to wake up with us tomorrow morning. Trish and I are back at it at 4:30. Have a great day.